إن الصلاة كانت على المؤمنين كتابا موقوتا.
بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. The ruku' is one of the pillars of the salah. If someone forgot, left out in the salah and didn't do any ruku', that person should do sujood al-sahw. If it is something which is decretion from the salah, the sujood al-sahw will be done before the taslima. If there is any increment, something has been increased to the salah, added to the salah, that means the sujood al-sahw will be done after the taslima. After the taslima, the sujood al-sahw will be done. And I have to correct previous actually clip in which I mentioned sifat sujood al-sahw, the specification, description of the sujood al-sahw. Sujood al-sahw, you do the same as you do the other sujood. One sujood and then subhana rabbiyal a'la. Then afterwards you sit down. In the sitting down you have to say rabbi ighfirli, rabbi ighfirli, rabbi ighfirli, as you do in the ordinary sujood, as al-jalsa bayna sajdatayn, the sitting between the two sajda. So again, let me rectify this and correct it. The sujood al-sahw is done as when you leave one of the pillars of the salah, any pillar of the salah, which are 14 we are discussing now. If you leave one of them forgetfully, okay, and you remembered while you are in the salah, within the salah, then what you do, if it is something you left out, and that is of course a decretion, something you decreased from your salah, so you do the sujood al-sahw before you do the taslima. Before you end your salah, you do your sujood al-sahw. And the way, the description of the sujood al-sahw is one sajda, subhana rabbiyal a'la, subhana rabbiyal a'la, subhana rabbiyal a'la, and then you sit down. The sitting between the two sajda is called al-jalsa bayna sajdatayn. So that means you do the same thing as you do in the salah. Rabbi ighfirli warhamni wajburni ila akhir ad-du'a. And also you can also say just Rabbi ighfirli, Rabbi ighfirli, Rabbi ighfirli. You can say that as well. Then you go to another sujood and you do subhana rabbiyal a'la, subhana rabbiyal a'la, subhana rabbiyal a'la, and then you do the taslima. Once again, I would like to describe this. It's very important. You left one rukun. The rukun, we are now listing the rukun and we are talking about the pillars of the salah. We started with the standing, the ability to stand and pray standing. Then we did the takbiratul ihram. Then we did the fatiha. Then the ruku'. All of these are the pillars of the salah. If someone leaves one of them, one should redo it again. And then come with the sujood al-sahw. The sujood al-sahw, we said, if you decrease something, if it's a decretion from your salah, for example, you left ruku', you left fatiha, you left takbiratul ihram, you didn't say takbiratul ihram, for example. You didn't say Allahu Akbar to start your salah. You forgot it. And then you remembered. You have to do it again, start anew and say Allahu Akbar. And then afterwards, when you finish the salah, when you finish your tashahud, the last tashahud, before the taslima, before you end your salah, you do two sajid sahw, which is two sajda, which is subhana rabbiyal a'la. As I said, you make one sujood, then you sit down. In this sitting down, what you read is Rabbi ighfirli, Rabbi ighfirli, Rabbi ighfirli, as usual. And then you go back, you do another sajda. Then afterwards, you do the taslima. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. So you do that. That is when you decrease something from your salah, decretion. When you increment, when you decrease something, that means you have to do the sajda sahu after the taslim, after you finish your salah. You say assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, you finish your salah, then you do the sajdatay as-sahu, which is the same as I described. You make a sujood, subhana rabbiyal a'la, subhana rabbiyal a'la, subhana rabbiyal a'la, and then you sit down. This sitting between the two sajda, you have to say rabbi gfirli, rabbi gfirli, rabbi gfirli, and then you go back and do the same sajda again, subhana rabbiyal a'la, subhana rabbiyal a'la, subhana rabbiyal a'la, and then you do the taslima, not tashahud. You do the tashahud only once. That is the what the scholars have agreed upon. Majority of the scholars actually agreed upon the way to do the sajdatay as-sahu. When someone leaves one pillar of the pillars of the salah, and that pillar should be redone again. One should redo it. It's not just sujood as-sahu. Some people, what they do, they leave a rukun, they leave a pillar, and they think they can make up for that with a sujood as-sahu. That is not enough. That's wrong. You have to redo again the rukun, the pillar, which you left. Then afterwards, what will happen? Then you do the sujood as-sahu, the sajdatay as-sahu, as I described and mentioned now. So that is how we do the sujood as-sahu. And this sitting between the two sajda, when you do the sajdatay as-sahu, when you do the sahu, it's called the prostration for forgetfulness, or for forgetting one of the pillars of the salah, or someone left out, for example, a duty, wajib, in the salah, which doesn't actually reach to the level of pillar. It is lower than the pillar, which is a wajib. The wajib, if someone left forgetfully, unintentionally, unaware, so that person who forgot the wajib doesn't have to redo it again. Just does the sajdatay as-sahu, and that suffices. So that is the difference between a pillar in salah, rukun fi salah, and wajib fi salah, a duty in salah. The pillar necessitates that you redo this pillar again. And we inshallah mention in the next episode what would happen if someone has forgotten and went to the next rak'ah. We mention inshallah. But the pillar, as we said, we have to redo it again, and then after that make up for that with the sajdatay as-sahu. But the wajib, the duty, if you forgot it, and we mention inshallah that, for example, now the last tashahud is a pillar. Last tashahud, the last at-tahiyyat is a pillar. But the middle one, the middle tashahud, is a duty. Someone, we mention inshallah, describe how it could happen. And then inshallah, someone left the wajib, which is the middle tashahud. That person will only do the sujood as-sahu. No need to redo it again, that tashahud, which is the middle tashahud. وبالله التوفيق صلى الله على نبينا محمد.